You received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up.
Well, hello, Miss Kiki. How are things there in lockup? Oh, well, so she killed a cop or her boyfriend? Oh no, so what was it, in self-defense or something? Oh my goodness. So her boyfriend had to prove his worthiness to join a gang. Yeah, that's turning into be quite the issue these days, and it's really it's really driving me up the wall. Oh yeah, I know. I've heard a lot about gang affiliations within the prison, and I wish there was something that we could do to stop it. You know, when I think about it, it's just more or less like, yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, the biggest thing is the initiation. They have to prove something. But from what I understand with gangs, they offer a family environment. They give these folks something they're looking for. These are people who aren't necessarily bad folks. They just many of them just want to fit in. I knew when I was in high school, a lot of the new people that came to the school, they were just looking for somebody to associate with and hang out around and learn things from. And you know, at that age, at the teenager age, that's right. Yeah, that's we're just open books. We're learning, and like I was told, a lot of folks have bad mentors, and if a child looks up to a father figure who is into organized crime or gang activity or just general protests and racism and stuff, you know, they're going to get images in their mind that could lead them down the wrong path. I mean, some could fight it and win, and of course, you know, racism isn't illegal, but it can lead to illegal activities, and that's what we're all trying to avoid, and it's just more like, right, yeah, and that's up to us as a community. We can't just say that everybody has to fend for themselves. We're not a bunch of animals, you know, where we run away from conflict and hide and expect other people to take the fight. This isn't a matter of you have to be faster than the person that's running with you. This is a matter of we need to learn that in groups we have a greater force, and our chance of survival is greatly
You have 60 seconds remaining.
increased. Good. I'm glad that you're talking to the young folks in there and associating with the people that can give good advice and good support. I know my fiance, she's got cancer and it's tough. You know, it's beginning to catch up with her, and I'll never know
You have 30 seconds remaining.
what she's going through. I can only know what I'm going through, and supporting her is a tough one. but it's very possible. And no matter what people go through, it's not the end of the world. All right. Well, thanks for giving me a call and keeping me updated and all that. And I hope your words are heard and adhered to. Yeah. Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of AQS Inmate Call. And I am your host, Joel Wilborn. And that was a conversation based on an interview I had with DeMar Nelson. There are a lot of things that's going on in the world, and it's not going to go away. There's no quick fix to things. You either fall prey or you adapt, or you fight it. And I think one of the things that we're neglecting is recent events and how they affect people. Not everybody's affected in the same way. There's people who are used to socializing, used to passing the time by getting out into the community, meeting people, hooking up with folks, just kind of being in the open. And with the pandemic, a lot of folks were locked up and isolated, and that's against their norm. And yes, it's true, we can't give everybody on the planet the ideal environment where they're comfortable. This is not like a big zoo and we put people in a cage and try to study them and figure out what makes them happy. We all have different needs, and we need different environments. And when criminal activity is going on, there's this drive to pull people in to join these gangs. And when you have a bunch of people that's been isolated for a while and they get out, the world to them is a little different. And getting back into the groove takes some time. And when gang leaders and gang members want to recruit folks, this is the perfect opportunity for them. And the pandemic really made it easy for them, I think. And you tune into the news, and I flip around to different channels and listen to different broadcasts and read different things. I try to get a wide idea of what's going on out there. And I notice racism seems to be a big thing, and people want to find an enemy. And that's something that happened many decades ago, where things were going wrong, so they wanted to blame a certain race or a certain gender or a certain nationality. And it didn't work then, and it's not working now. And as I said in the call, racism is not illegal. And in the United States, if a person wants to be a racist, that's good for them. Go ahead, be a racist. It doesn't mean to go out and burn down churches or shoot up malls or vandalize businesses. What it means is that the person just doesn't like another group. And if that makes a person feel comfortable and live a normal life, so be it. But if that causes a person to go out and commit crimes and recruit people to join that cause and commit crimes, then it becomes a problem. And so we should not focus on racism. We should focus on crime. And some of the best advisors in the world are the people sitting behind bars. A lot of the folks I talk to don't say I'm in here because of another race. They'll usually admit, I made a mistake, I didn't seek assistance, or I didn't think this through, I was lost. In the recent interview I had with DeMar Nelson, he was a major gang leader, and he got caught up in the misinformation age. He was filling his mind full of all these terrible thoughts and activities, and he was acting on them. And then, he picks up the Bible, and he does podcasts now, and he's a better person because of his recent activity. And it's nice that he's out talking to folks and working with people to avoid having this become an issue in his life, or for the people that are around him looking to him for some guidance. So what I would like to emphasize in this episode is how you might think some of the experiences you go through are terrible and you want to forget them. But look to folks that are going through similar issues that you went through. And they're reaching out. These people try to figure out, how can I get out of this? And if you say something, even if it's just a few sentences, it could make a big difference in this person's mind. Now libraries are beginning to reinvent themselves, and folks are going down there. When I was growing up, going to a library was fun. I'd go in there, check out a book, go home, read that thing, and I enjoyed it. And sometimes if the author had several books in a series, I would go out and get some more. I really enjoyed going to the library. We don't really have to go to the library much anymore because books can be read online or through ebooks. So to attract folks, libraries have different features in them now. And that's something I think people should be led toward. If you want to go out and have fun, do something, and you can't think of any place to go right offhand, like the mall or the movies or a restaurant, try the library. Just go in there and sit down. And it's not necessarily always where you have to be quiet. There's places where they can go down and sit, have a little meeting. They can do podcasts in the library. They can listen to music, watch movies, intermingle, learn a skill. And it's something that has a wide variety of things. So those who aren't really set on what they want to do, and a lot of teenagers that I've talked to, they're trying to figure out what they want to do in life. What do you want to do when you go to college? What do you want to major in? What do you want to kind of career are you interested in? Well, I'm not sure yet. And to get out and be able to experiment and check them out, eliminate things. If the person's interested in being an auto mechanic and looking into the books and talking to some people who are auto mechanics and working with auto mechanics, if that person figures out this is not for me, then there's no need to waste their time chasing after something that's just not going to work. They can just tweak their interest and move in a different direction, one that's more comfortable for them. And the library is a good way to figure that out. And I think once a person has a passion, especially artists, a person who really enjoys doing tattoos, it's not going to be hard for that person to make money, make a living off doing tattoos. The person loves doing tattoos, takes great care in maintaining the equipment and advertising their work. There's people who like to draw, people who like to paint. There's people who like to construct buildings or who want to design buildings or program computers. And a library is a good place to gain some of that information and to look at the different things out there. I knew when I was growing up, there were some things out there that I didn't even know about until I read about it in the library or heard about it from a friend or just saw it, experienced it or something. People who are in an accident and wake up in a hospital might be really impressed by the nurses in there and decide, when I get out, I want to be able to help people too, because I feel good under the care of these nurses and I like what these nurses are doing for the people and I want to be a nurse. And that person could grow up to become a nurse and never regret it. And if a gang member goes over and just starts filling people's minds with things they want to hear, it's manipulation. Your family doesn't love you, we can show you love. We can help you out. You're having a tough time in school, we'll teach you. Or you can just drop out and you can get away from the world. There's just things that they'll say. And then when the person's convinced, yes, I want to join this gang, well, you're going to have to go do something. Now, Kiki was talking about a girl's in there because her boyfriend shot a cop. In recent news in my local town, 2 men chased after 2 police officers with the sole purpose of assassinating them to get into a gang, to impress a gang. And even after the arrest, one of the people said, I would do this again. More like this, like when I get out, I'm going to go do this. They were actually filming it and broadcasting it. They were proud to be able to chase a police officer. Why are police officers the bad people? If people who are in prison, they made a mistake, they got locked up. They're serving their time. They're paying their price. How many of us have driven down the road, gone over the speed limit, and then gotten a ticket? Or fell behind in rent and gotten evicted? There's terrible things that could happen to us in our life. To have that just held over us for the rest of our life. And to have these broadcasts and social trends and stuff going on, that these mistakes have to be broadcast and have to be analyzed for years to come rather than the good. Police officers have influenced a lot of people. They influenced me. I've gotten into law enforcement. They, when we need them, if we're lost, they can help us with directions. They can help us find children. They can help people who are broke down on the side of the road. The list goes on of the things they can do, and we just don't hear about that very often. And I think if we're going to criticize people for doing their job, we need to offer a solution. If a police officer goes into a neighborhood and is pelted with rocks and insults and threatened with weapons, even they don't want to go into that neighborhood because they're not welcome there. And so if people say it takes a long time for police officers to show up, for one thing, they're busy. They've got a lot to attend to, and some people get called in for things that really don't need their services. With me, I really haven't had that much problem getting police officers to come to me, and I don't want to go out and say, let's gang up and take away their funds or fire them or replace them with some kind of crazy alternative. And for gang members now to do that, it's getting to the point where they're telling folks, yeah, you can shoot a police officer, but you'll be back out on the street as a hero within hours. And to actually have that backed up, they get arrested. They don't need bail. They're not looking at long-term conviction. That's not very motivating not to commit a crime. That's one of the reasons we have these laws, is that so people know that if they break the law, there's a serious consequence, and maybe, just maybe, they won't do it. But gang activity goes on. Inside of prison, outside of prison, beginning of life, end of life. And it's going to continue to get worse unless we do something. And let's quit portraying government officials as the evil ones. Let's show that we can change what's wrong and what's not working in a way other than crime. I think, I'm not a big fan of unions, but unions have the right idea. Band together and let folks know that the big business government can't walk all over them, because there's a group of people who will watch out for their best interest. And just when these organizations attempt to overstep the line, the union is there, the community groups are there to keep an eye on it. Not gangs. We don't need that. We don't need more drug activity. We don't need more violence. We need peaceful protest. We need the system to work by working within the system and to tweak the things that go wrong. But these blatant attacks on everything, and everything's racist, and everything's gender bias, that's just a small part of what we are. There's not a lot of people that are killed with assault weapons, but there's a lot of broadcast on it, and there's a lot of advertisement on it. So if you can open up some communication with a person who's locked up, get some advice. Find something you can pass on to your family and your friends. I really like passing on advice from people that are in prison, because it's easy to believe what they have to say. It's not like somebody who went to college for 6 years and gets a fancy degree and comes out and says, after all these years of studying, this is what we found out. If you have a former gang leader doing a podcast, I think at least a teenager should listen to it. And a lot of them are played at teen camps and rehab centers and treatment centers. They play these, and I highly recommend them. So go to the internet and look up pen pals, prison pen pals or something. And the best way to get rid of crime is to work within the system, and you can actually do things. You may offer some really good suggestions to people yourself. Let's get crime and gang activity and drug addiction, let's get that under control. And broadcasting negative stuff, attacking the people that are trying to stop it, that's not going to help. We need to get involved, and we need to speak out, get our word out there, and have people listen to the folks that have been there and that can tell us why they took the life of crime instead of the protest, the peaceful protest. So tune into the Joel Wilborn YouTube video. Take a look at DeMar Nelson and speak out. Let's do this. Let's work together and let's end this. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks for your involvement. And have yourself a wonderful day, and go out and make wonderful memories for tomorrow.